folks, and welcome to the Outdoors Radio Show, The Bend Show, where we share the other part of life with you in the outdoors, where you never know what's coming around the bend. I am your host, Rebecca Wanner, aka Beck, and as always, we love hearing from all of you. Comments, stories, ideas. Remember to get a hold of us anytime. Call or text 305-900-BEND. That is 305-900-2363. Or you can always drop an email to bendradioshow@gmail.com. Joining me as always, sitting shotgun, is my producer, sound engineer, and co-host, Jeff Tigger Erhardt. And we have been going after it pretty hard lately. You know, not too long ago, the new year hit us, and we have been getting cabin fever like many others. Depending on where you are in the country, you've had a lot of snow, a little bit more than you usually have. We're almost into, our third month of snow, the way we've been sitting where we're at. And what did we do the other day? We went out walking on one of the local lakes just to kind of just get out for fresh air, right? Because we didn't feel like trudging through 3 feet of snow. We decided to go out on the ice and check it out ourselves.
And the ice was speaking to us.
It was.
It was not cracking, but there was movement. That made me a little nervous.
Yeah, every once in a while, he'd stop and look at me, and he's like, "Are we safe? Is it okay?"
Made me a little nervous. I mean, everybody was out there on the ice and enjoying themselves, but I had never heard the ice. Do you want to say move? I haven't heard it crack like that. Make noises like that.
Yes. But what we have noticed up here in the northern part of the country, though, is because of the extra snow on the ice, most guys are having, or gals, sorry, guys and gals, they're having to put tracks on their machines. We're talking about putting tracks on their four-wheelers.
It's the only way you can get out there. Get around.
Right. They can't get around. They're flat out saying, if you have a side-by-side, don't even bother trying if you don't have tracks.
Those people selling side-by-sides and snowmobiles and four-wheelers, they're loving life right now. And the accessory packages that they're putting on these things.
They wait. Yeah. This is like that, you wait for that 1 year in a decade to make all your money. Mm-hmm. This is what they're doing right now.
Yep.
Well, as it may be, we also have heard from one of our favorite Bend field staffers, Silent Steve Sinski. We haven't heard from him in a long time, and he gave us a little bit of a fishing report, or maybe a tease more or less than that, by sending us lots of pictures of his son Bridger pulling in the biggins. Wouldn't you say, Tigger?
Mm-hmm. Doing a great job. I mean, they were having a lot of fun.
Yes.
And it was multiple species he was getting. He was
exactly.
Pulling walleye,
he was pulling walleye, perch, pike. For a little kid, and I would say Bridger is I think he's only like 4 years old. He already has quite a list of fish that he has been able to reel in himself. So all I can say is, if you've been thinking about hitting the ice and you haven't done so with the cold temps that we've had since November on in a lot of areas, this is the year to maybe give that ice fishing a try, and especially if you're having cabin fever and you've got the kids, and we're going into a long weekend, Martin Luther King Day. A lot of schools are out that day, or maybe depending on what kind of job you have, you may have Monday off. This is a great idea, is to maybe consider giving ice fishing a try, because really it is very inexpensive to get into. It doesn't take much of an auger to drill some holes. Check it out. But here's the thing.
5-gallon bucket to sit on.
Well, that's what I grew up doing. I sat on the 5-gallon bucket, or else a straw bale. But the one thing you will want to double check, though, depending on where you are, because of the extra snow on the ice, some areas don't have as thick of ice as typically, because remember, snow can insulate that ice.
Good point.
So make sure you're double checking. Check with your local DNRs to see what the ice thickness is in your area. But if you do get out, and especially if this is your first time reeling in the big ends ice fishing, be sure to send us those pictures and follow us on social media. We want to see what you catch out there. You can do that at The Bend Show. First, we head to Ontario, Canada. A group of Canadians were good Samaritans when recently a group of men rescued a moose after it fell through some ice on Manitou Lake in Ontario. The men drove their snowmobiles to the moose, then climbed down a cliff, tied a rope around the moose's neck, and then using their own strength along with the snowmobiles were able to rescue the cow moose. It took them an hour to pull her from the water, but she was unhurt and then wandered off into the wooded area. I give those men a lot of credit, considering moose are definitely on that list of a dangerous animal if you happen to cross paths with one. Now we head back to the United States. San Antonio, Texas. Last week, an unusual sight surprised locals as well as the San Antonio Animal Care Services after a resident opened their front door and came face to face with a scared coati. Yes, you heard me right, a coati. That's spelled Coati. The coati was hanging onto the front door frame of their home. Now, for those unfamiliar with a coati, it is in the same family as the raccoons. However, they are white and almost have a mini polar bear look to them, except they're about the size of a big raccoon. They are non-native and usually found in Central and South America. They are prohibited in Texas, and owning one can lead to a $2,000 fine. They are often linked to illegal exotic animal trace, and that is exactly what the San Antonio Animal Care Services soon learned in their investigations after capturing the animal. It had been purchased recently by a local resident and had escaped. Now for some funny and little lighter news for you. For those wanting to end a current relationship, oh, this is so wrong, but kind of funny at the same time. I've been told that Walmart is celebrating Valentine's Day early by selling breakup bears. Yep, you heard me right. Breakup bears. The bear is wearing a shirt that says bye-bye while holding a broken heart in each paw. One paw holds the L-O, while the other paw holds the other half of the heart saying V-E. They are selling for about $20 if you think you need one. While we're still talking humorous stories and you're looking for a new job in the new year, one that might take you on an adventure, well, Oscar Mayer, as in the hot dog manufacturer, has announced they are hiring 12 new drivers for their Wienermobiles. The job is for 1 year and requires employees to drive 20,000 miles in 20 states. The drivers will give out some 250,000 wiener whistles this year. Thinking about applying? FYI, drivers must have a good driving record and a valid driver's license. Our last story takes us to Tampa, Florida. Now, typically, I'll be honest, I have not been a big fan of the TSA or having to go through all the hurdles to be cleared for takeoff. Heck, to be honest, both Tigger and I have our TSA pre-checked approved numbers. We've been that way for years. And if you don't know what it is to be TSA pre-checked, I definitely suggest doing so to quicken those security checkpoints at airports. Okay, back to the story. Tampa, Florida. Can say this story has me thankful, though, for the TSA. A woman last month was stopped when she attempted to board a plane with a 4-foot boa constrictor. The snake was in the woman's carry-on bag and discovered by TSA officials as it went through the X-ray machine. The woman claimed her snake, named Bartholomew, by the way, was her emotional support animal. Seriously, pet rock. I'm telling you, get a pet rock. Back to the story. The TSA refused to allow the snake on the plane, then tweeted to social media, "Do you have aspirations of taking a snake on a plane? Don't get upsetty spaghetti on us by not understanding your airline's rules. Airlines do not allow ropes, aka snakes, in carry-on bags, and only a few allow them to slither around in checked bags, and that's only if packaged correctly." The end, as I stated earlier, please just get a pet rock. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we talk more about winter activities that are hot right now. It's a longer weekend with Monday off, we know, for many. So here's a couple of ideas, too, to be checking out to do with the kiddos as well. And, of course, we'll have more fun stories as we keep trekking along today. Stay where you are. One never knows what's around the bend when you're riding along with Beck. Folks, we'll be right back.
It's all about you. This is Michelle with About You Photography. Super excited to be the official photographer of Tigger and Beck. Other than the ranch, photography and design is what I do for a living. From rodeo and Western sports to the elegant to the tasteful, artistic, beautiful, and private, we can take care of whatever you're needing. If I can make Tigger look good, imagine what I can do for you. Get a hold of me for all of your photography needs, from custom shoots to stock photos.
Marlo Anderson here, and believe it or not, I am the National Day Calendar creator. We are the calendar that brings you National Donut Day to Coffee Day and everything in between. Subscribe to National Day Calendar and never miss a reason to celebrate every day.
Waterfowl, turkey, deer. ToxicCalls.com offers all of the various styles of calls needed to take your hunt to the next level when you create quite simply the most real sound yet. American made to boot. Order today, ToxicCalls.com.
Hey everybody, this is John Arman with Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV. Join us every week as we travel the back roads and backwaters in search of the ultimate outdoor adventure. You can find us on KOTVchannel.com, YouTube, and our local stations.
Want to add just a little bit of spice to your event, your customer appreciation supper, your banquet, your meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Well, bring in us. Beck and I as your keynote speakers, hosts, MCs, a host couple. We'll make them laugh, even cry tears of joy. Call us today.
Welcome back to the outdoor show, The Bend. I am Rebecca Wanner, a.k.a. Beck, and joining me is Jeff Tigger Erhardt. And we hope you are having a great weekend as we get into this, and it's another weekend in the winter bliss, as some may call it, or some may be starting to have that cabin fever and wondering what to do with the kids. Well, I got another idea for you because, yes, this is a longer weekend again, and that is, if you're looking for something that's inexpensive, but an activity that maybe you and the family have not given a try or thought about trying, and that is checking with your local golf courses if you're in the northern part of the country, or checking with your state parks, because get this, many of them have cross-country skis to rent as well as snowshoes you could rent. So if you're feeling like you're just not quite up to par to be going on that Black Diamond skiing trip, but yet you'd love to get outside and do some of those activities to burn off a little energy, especially with the kids, think about giving that cross-country skiing or snowshoeing a try. Now, here, staying in that winter theme, as the rest of us, or many of us, are heading into the backcountry, we are getting excited. I hate to bring this up because it's been in the headlines a lot in the last week. Avalanche season is full blowing. We're talking seriousness that is going on right now. And I know many of us after pandemic have gotten into going into the backcountry. But what's sad is that many have been traveling into the backcountry unprepared. And again, let me remind you that statistically, avalanches kill more people on national forests than on any other natural hazard out there. Think about that. On average, 25 to 30 people pass away in avalanches every year.
That's 25 to 30 people too many.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't need to happen.
And if you've been watching the national news, this just happened too over the last couple of days. We ended up losing, sadly, 2 snowmobilers. They were caught buried and passed away in a huge avalanche out on the east face of Mount Epworth near Winter Park, Colorado. Then a couple of days ago, there was another skier who was buried and he passed away also skiing on Mount Charleston, which is right outside of Vegas. And that's an area I've skied as well. A lot of times people don't realize they're skiing outside of Vegas, but there is a mountain, the mountain's right there, Mount Charleston. And he went on areas that were not groomed trails. So he went off the trails and went into the backcountry and triggered an avalanche there and was buried. So these are very serious topics. And that's why we're bringing this up, because for example, the Gallatin National Forest Avalanche Center out in Montana, I bring them up because I know a lot of folks like to head to Cook City. Cook City is a mecca for snowmobilers this time of year. It seems like it's a great place for a lot of people from about a tri-state area head to Cook City.
It is a great place. It's a great destination.
It is. We have a lot of friends that is their annual go-to trip, is to head that way. Well, the Gallatin National Forest Avalanche Center they're right now offering free rescue trainings on every Saturday now through the end of February. And these trainings only last about 20 minutes. And the reason why is because they are so fearful right now of the situation when it comes to avalanches. You're going to want to make sure you are checking with either the Gallatin National Forest Avalanche Center if you're heading up into that Montana area. Otherwise, if you're going near Colorado, well, there's 7 avalanche centers across the United States. Let me backtrack. So you'll want to make sure that you head to avalanche.com regardless. And the National Avalanche Center, you never would have thought that there is a government organization that does monitor that right there. You'll want to head there and make sure you are getting daily updates if you are heading into those areas before you head into the back country. So as you're preparing right now, before you load up those sleds, head out for the weekend, make sure you are doing the bare minimums. You need to make sure you have your beacons with you. If you don't have those beacons, those are those safety buttons that go on you that you can hit in an alert, and it sends out an SOS signal, and it sends it out via satellite. So the emergency management systems can get a hold and find you, because you always think, I can rely on my cell phone. My cell phone will find me. That is not the case. And
we have some great partners that we can get you hooked up with if you're wondering about where to go to get those beacons.
Yes. And who he's talking about is Atlas Tracks. That is a great one. They've been around for a very, very long time. They're a great company. That's, again, Atlas Tracks, and it's track spelled TRAX.com. You can head there. Otherwise, there are other options out there too. But regardless, make sure you are checking that you have all of your minimum safety items, such as your shovel, your avalanche probe, participating in the buddy system. Let somebody know that you are heading out to the backcountry. Stay with us. When we come back, we have another fishing report for you, as well as a recipe you're not going to want to miss. Stay where you are. We'll be right back.
OverTheEdgeOutdoors.org, a nonprofit providing veterans and active service members with opportunities to hunt and fish at no cost to them. For more information or to donate, check out OverTheEdgeOutdoors.org.
Again, that's OverTheEdgeOutdoors.org.
The hunt is planned, the guide is booked, the trip is blocked off in the calendar, but one huge detail remains, preserving that trophy, creating a memory that will last a lifetime. Little Rack Taxidermy has that fast, friendly service to fulfill your taxidermy in a timely, professional manner. Reach out to Heather with Little Rack Taxidermy through Facebook at Little Rack Taxidermy, or send an email to heatherjoe23@hotmail.com. Little Rack Taxidermy, bringing back the natural look.
Shooting ducks, skinning bucks, I'm a hunting princess in a pickup truck.
Join the Celebration Nation. Never miss another national day. From National Pretzel Day to Junk Food Day, be notified about contests, coupons, and prize opportunities. NationalDayCalendar.com. Never miss a reason to celebrate every day.
This is Beck. First, I appreciate all of you for listening and making The Bend part of your week. Many of you have asked, how do I catch past episodes? The answer is super easy. Head to thebendshow.com and click on the shows tab. There you can listen to every episode all the way back to episode 1. Podcasters, head to your favorite podcasting app and search The Bend. You'll find us. Be sure to follow and subscribe and never miss another episode again. Welcome back to the Outdoors Radio Show, The Bend. I am your host, Rebecca Wanner, a.k.a. Beck. Got a special shout out as we always are asking for those field reports. We want to hear what's going on in your neck of the woods. Well, we had this one sent in to us from down in the Florida Keys. Captain Deb Deo from Blue Girl Adventures got a hold of us, and she said earlier this week, while chasing sailfish on the charter that she was captaining and guiding, they caught a 9-foot bull shark. Can you imagine? A 9-foot bull shark? Well, you have to see the video. Find her on social media in order to see this video. But it's crazy as you watch them reel in this huge bull shark, and it comes right up against the vessel. They did release the 9-foot bull shark, and she said they're hoping it'll go after some of them snappers, clear those out of there. But seriously, if you've been thinking about taking a deep sea fishing trip and have wanted to see the Florida Keys, you need to get in touch with Captain Deb Deo. Captain Deb Deo, again, that's her name. She has been slaying the sailfish right now, and they are hot. They've been averaging 6-footers and weighing in around 60 pounds is what she said, but they've also even caught some 8.5-footers too. So put this down on your bucket list if it isn't already, or if you've been thinking about sneaking away this winter, spring to warmer waters, head to BlueWaterGirlAdventures.com. Again, that's BlueWaterGirlAdventures.com. You can choose the type of adventure you'd like to do. And if you can't find Captain Deb Deo, let me know and I'll be sure to put you in touch with her. Changing gears. Yes, I do have another recipe for you all. Well, if you remember last week, Tigger snuck up on me out in the kitchen there when I was using my Instant Pot. Well, guess what? I'm doing it again, using it again. I made this last night for Tigger and I think I surprised him by this one because this time of year, we're all looking for something that's kind of a comfort food, but yet at the same time, we're trying to watch our waistlines, right? A lot of us have New Year's resolutions about losing the weight. Yet we're trying to, use up those items that we have out in our freezer. And the other topic that Tigger and I talked about last week was how the Instant Pot works so well with some of those tougher cuts of meat. I'm talking about maybe your stew meats. Some of those are just maybe a little more gristly. They're just a little harder to cook with. Well, what I surprised Tigger with is instead of making like a typical stroganoff that you put over on your noodles where you open up a can of cream of chicken soup or a can of cream of mushroom soup, how about if we figured out how to make something that's just as tasty, but without all the fat, without all of that extra sugar, some of the carbs are gone away, those kinds of things. So what we did is took out 1.5 pounds of stew meat is what I used. And here's my other little trick. If you're ever wondering, how can I cut up my meats so that I can get them really nice and small and say into bite-sized pieces, the trick of it is while it's on thawing, about halfway through, take it out of that microwave or out of the fridge, wherever you have it on thawing, and start cutting it up now while it's still half frozen. You'll be so happy because you will not have the mess of the blood everywhere. And on top of it, you can actually dice it up to those sizes that you want that fit, whether you're feeding small children or you and yourself. You want it to fit on your spoon nice. If it's in a stew, you'll be so happy you cut your meats up while they're still half frozen. Now, the next thing I did is I used my Instant Pot again. While I was cutting up my meat, I used beef instead of venison on this combination. Venison will work as well, but I was in the Instant Pot having on saute setting, I had extra virgin olive oil along with a whole onion. I diced up a sweet onion, threw that in there. You all know how I love my raw garlic minced. I threw in 2 tablespoons of that, mixed it all together. As I joke with Tigger, I call it melding, letting those flavors get to be friends, besties as you may. Then I tossed in now that finely chopped up stew meat. And before it had a chance to really start cooking on that saute setting, I like using a steak seasoning. Use your favorite. For me, my go-to is a Montreal steak seasoning. I know everybody, that's a whole argument in itself on what's the best steak seasoning to use. That's just one that I have around, but I use about a tablespoon or maybe a little bit more of that because I want some of that peppery taste to it. And the reason why is because the next trick I'm going to do is now I'm turning off that Instant Pot and I'm about to put it into a pressure cooking setting. But before I turn the pressure cooker on, I throw in a half a bottle of this sauce. Write it down. G. Hughes Sugar-Free Smoky Mesquite Marinade. Again, that's G. Hughes Sugar-Free Smoky Mesquite Marinade. Who would have thought? But this marinade has a bit of sweetness to it. So you mix that with that peppery seasoning from your steak seasoning and let them all meld together. Plus throw in about a half a cup of water. Now mix that up really well. Put the lid back on my Instant Pot. Set my Instant Pot for about 20-25 minutes. And you're thinking, well, that's a long time for meat that's half frozen. Well, guess what? It will tenderize that meat so that it's almost like a roast beef that will fall apart. When you take your lid off, stir it up, mix it up, in less than 1 hour, you have an unbelievable saucy, meaty substance that is excellent as its own, almost eating like a soup. It's excellent over scrambled eggs as well as, or if you like using your egg noodles and you're wanting a wonderful stroganoff substitute, put it over some noodles. There you go.
And it works great to fill the keto low-carb diet.
Mm-hmm. And that is all, folks, for today's show. Thank you to my producer and sound engineer, co-host Jeff Tigger Erhardt. And a big thank you to Steve Sinski in the Dakotas on the ice fishing update and to Captain Deb Deo on letting us know that the sailfish are in season down in the Florida Keys. We sure do enjoy hearing how all parts of the country are doing, and we invite you to call or text in your area's field reports. That number again is 305 305-900-BEND. Again, that's 305-900-2363. As you all keep making those memories, be sure to keep sending in those pictures by email, bendradioshow@gmail.com, and always tagging at The Ben Show on social media. We love hearing and sharing your life with you, and we want to see it all. If you missed part of this episode or want to hear past shows, you can find them all on the website, thebendshow.com. Again, that's thebendshow.com. And be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting app. Looking to change things up this next year with your next event, conference, award show, or even fishing tournament? Think about having us, Tigger and Beck, entertain your crowd. From MCs to event headliners, public speakers, to acting as a host couple, we know how to bring the people together, make them smile, laugh, and share the stories. From ranching, cattle, hunting, fishing, camping, and rodeo, plus so much more. And by the way, did you know Tigger is a PRCA Pro Rodeo announcers, and we are music directors too. Tigger is also an auctioneer, so that's why I bring up the fishing tournaments. Maybe think about having a Calcutta for your next fishing tournament. Try to spice things up this next year and think about having us, Tigger and Beck. Thank you to our partners, Ditali Outdoors, About You Photography, Buckstorm, Little Rack Taxidermy, Mickey's Mustard, ToxicCalls.com, Wobble Creek Outfitters, Atlas Tracks, Abrahamson Rodeo Company, RFD TV, and the Cowboy Channel. Finally, a big thanks to all of you listeners out there that came along, and whether you're coming or going today, stay with us as we ranch it up. We sure hope you have a wonderful week ahead. Enjoy the winter as you may. And as always, remember to keep up with me, Beck, all week long by following The Bend on Facebook and on Instagram at The Bend Show. This is Rebecca Wanner. Catch Beck if you can next week on The Bend.